Let me know if this sounds familiar to you. It's winter, your car's really dirty, you've only got about 35, 40 minutes to clean it before you go out for the school run, or you're out at daylight. Can you do it? Well, in this video, I'm going to try a contactless wash with Koch Chemie Vb. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to be pristine. It's going to be passable until you get along to the next contact wash and hopefully look a lot better. Let's see what we get to. Now, to achieve this contactless wash, you've got to realise the wheels are dirtier than the paint because of brake dust as well, not just dirt. So for that, I'm going to be using a 1:4 in the foam cannon. I'll tell you in a minute what that works out to, but in terms of PIR. So I'm going to do 1:4 for the wheels, but through the foam cannon, not a pump sprayer, so it's going to be further diluted. And then I'm going to do 1:9 on the bodywork. That is James's recommendation from Slims. I think it might need more than that, but we shall see. Do it with 5-minute dwells, and if it needs a second coat, it needs a second coat. Another go of it, that's fine. The rinsing with the pressure washer is going to be the thing that does most of the work here, like the surfactants in the chemical and then the pressure washer. What's interesting to see here is you might see this door's a bit stripy. I've just been doing some other tests on this, so it'd be good to tell actually, does having like additional pre-wash underneath it make a difference? If you paid it on the pump spray, would you want it stronger? Those sorts of things. Let's get some on the wheels and have a look, and then do the paint. Now, I'm using the premium Arbor foam cannon here on maximum draw. Now, I have to say this is one of the real benefits of the Arbor setup, especially with the premium foam cannon that comes with multiple cups. You can have just different ones mixed up with different ratios of product for this job. And then you can just go swap the bottle over and put a new one on. Right, so now we're at 1:9 for the bodywork. Now, I've used about half of the bottle here, and I've put on a nice thin but even layer, particularly Brian Woods, if you remember, we were talking about the Garage Therapy Decon, and I was using it, sorry, not Garage Therapy Decon, Garage Therapy Foam V2, and I was using the MJJC, and you said, oh, if you put it on a wider fan, put a nice thin layer over, you should get good coverage. You won't need to use a litre for the car. Taking that principle, applying it here, I think you're right, by the way, so we're going to see, but this means I can do 2 hits. I've got enough product in here to go over it again if I need to. So, we give it 5 minutes dwell, and then we're going to come back and blast it all off and see if we need to go again. All right, 5 minutes has been and gone, so now it's a case of flushing it all off and seeing how the wheels come up. Now, I'd say, for a quick contactless wash, those are passable. Don't get me wrong, I haven't been too judicious with my rinsing. I could be, but I genuinely, actually, the scenario I mentioned earlier about needing to pick up my daughter from school is very fast approaching, so I do need to get on with this quickly. But it tells you, you could get a good result. This is definitely cleaner than it was, and it's certainly passable. While I'm doing this rinsing down, seems like a good point to remind you that there are links to all the products I'm using in the video down in the description. And whilst you're there, drop me a like and subscribe. That'd be really appreciated. Right, if we're answering that question, can you do this quick wash, contactless wash, and go and drive the car afterwards and make it look better? Yes. I think it would be better if the VB was at a higher dilution ratio. So I'm going to come back and repeat this test, maybe on the van next time round, for the next part of this video. All right, here we come back for round 2. Now, the important thing is here, I'm going to try this at 2%, like I said earlier, rather than the 1%. Now, I am using the Arbor Premium Foam Cannon, and what I particularly like about this is it's got the measures on the side. Now, I know from doing the PIR calculation with that, with the Easy P57, 2% PIR is 200 mil. So this has got decilitres on the side, which is groups of 10 rather than hundreds of mils, and you've got ratios on this side if you needed it, but I know I need 2 decilitres, which is 200 mil. There we go. Lovely jubbly. And then to give you an idea of what we're working with on this one this time. So it's been washed about 2 weeks ago. We had the big freezy bits. We've had a lot of road salt down, especially in the area that I live in. When it was last cleaned, it was washed thoroughly, I'd say, but nothing with no decon shampoo or anything like this. But I did put Infinity Wax QDX as the QD on it, and I did that wet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the paint, and then on the wheels, I'm going to use Garage Therapy wheel shampoo, and that's 50 ml to a litre, which is a very, very strong mix, but I want to see if that helps. So let's get this on, shall we? There we go. So I've gone around my car and I've probably left with, ironically, 2 decilitres. So about 200 ml of the litre is left. And I've got good coverage, good thick coverage in there. Could go and put some in the wheel arches, so I'll do that. Whilst that's dwelling for 5 minutes, I could get on the wheel shampoo. Now, the reason I'm using the wheel shampoo as opposed to the VB here is this is like 50 ml, which they reckon is a pretty good cleaning ratio. We'll see if it helps. Whereas the VB for cleaning wheels, we're saying 4 to 1. It's in the pump spray, if you're doing a litre, is only about 250 ml, but that's still a lot more product. So I'm interested to see how good the GT V2 wheel shampoo is. A lot of people rave about this. I don't know if this actually is as a cleaner, but the blurb says it's good at cleaning, so let's give that a go. So we've got about another couple of minutes to dwell, so I will come back to you when that's done. You don't need to see me just standing still for a few minutes. Okay, we had about 5 minutes to dwell. I'm going to now use the stubby gun with the nozzle on 20 degrees, and that's to do the wheels and the arches, and then I'll go back onto the long lance in a minute to do the bodywork. I'm going to do the other wheels in a second. It's a bit of a tight space, but I will just do the bottoms of the sills here while I've got the stubby gun on because it's a bit easier. My observation would be you could definitely do that for the wheels with the wheel shampoo, but you could also spray on a wheel cleaner and just not agitate it, and that would give you good results too. These weren't that bad. If they were a bit worse, you could put a wheel cleaner on. You can see the product's kind of dried out on the paint. It's okay, we're in the shade and it's pretty chill. It's about like 8 degrees today, 10 degrees maybe. The important thing to note here is because we're using no contact wash afterwards, the water and the chemical are the things going to be doing the work. So you want to rinse slowly. And because there can be no contact wash afterwards, I'm rinsing top down, mainly because I'm not a psychopath rinsing from the bottom up. And I've got a white car, so I can easily see where all the where all the stuff is. But I don't want to be rinsing, I'd have to come and rinse down again. So I rinse from the top down. You may have a difference of opinion. If you do, you're wrong. But then you probably use a citrus as well. Just off a very quick 50-50 there, because you can see, I think that's pretty good. Like you could go out like that. If your car was dirty before and you need to nip out quickly, you could definitely leave it there and go. And that's what we're trying to prove, isn't it? Anyway, can rinse off the rest and we can see how we get on.
Something I thought was worthwhile here was to kind of really demonstrate just the sort of speed that I'm rinsing the paint down with the pressure washer here. And it's slow. It's slower than I would normally do, I think, when I'm doing a contact wash. But the reason I'm being slow is because you need to be thorough and make sure you're getting as much of the dirt off as possible, because there is going to be no contact wash. The flip side is, maybe actually it should always be this slow and thorough, even when I am doing a contact wash. I think I probably tend to go a bit quicker than this, and maybe you do as well. What do you think?
So observations here, you might be able to just see a bit of dirt hanging on there and a little bit streaky there. And I really worked on that area. It's important to note, I think, that getting a good, thick, even application of the foam is good. So I whizzed around on this bit and it kind of has left a bit, hasn't it? Like, it wasn't as even an application as it could be. So that's good to note. Make sure you take your time applying the foam, nice and slow. Look at the hydrophobics of that. That is 2-week-old, wet applied QDX from Infinity Wax. That is an incredible quick detail. Yeah, it's died off a bit down here. It's probably masked a bit by dirt, to be honest, and we're not going to get that off now. That's the whole point. But it's doing a good job at helping protect the upper parts. And if this is masked by dirt, or even if it died off after 2 weeks, that's bloody good. Shoulders are doing really well.
One of my observations when I was doing this was that you need to be very disciplined with where you're sweeping the pressure washer jet. Now I'm using the 20-degree fan, so it's narrower anyway, but you want the power to try and get the dirt off. You need to make sure you're overlapping with your sweeps as opposed to kind of just going side by side. Otherwise you might get a sort of tiger striping effect, which you're not going to be able to correct for afterwards because there's going to be no contact wash.
So answering the question, could you clean your car contactlessly to make it look better than it was and be able to take it out and go, at least it doesn't look completely ditched? Yes. Koch Chemie Vb there at 2% PIR, very good at that. You could use Garage Therapy Decon as well, but then I've used the Koch here and it's very good. It hasn't degraded the LSP too much, no masking going on there, so that's really good. Really, really impressed with that. However, there's something else you could do. So let's say you've got a bit more time, but you still haven't got all the time for a full contact wash. You can use this, the Arthur flow head. So I'm now going to go and film that, and that'll be one of the next videos coming up on the channel. Anyway, back to the studio for some conclusions. Okay, back to the studio might have been generous. I think that went really well though, and I would recommend using these mildly caustic strong pre-wash products like Koch Chemie Vb and Garage Therapy Decon shampoo. For this job in particular, we're very good because they will get more grime off than Auto Foam or Touchless or Garage Therapy Snow V2. Like, even though those are very good, you could probably do that if you had those products rather than buying a new one. You could use those for sure, but if you wanted to do what I did, I would recommend the products that I've used. I think it's important to be thorough with the rinsing. I know I said that there, but really, really make sure you're not leaving any product left. And of course, now I didn't do it in these videos, but you can do the door jambs, go and spray in some pre-wash in there through a pump sprayer or a trigger foam, a bit of APC, anything like that. You could still blast out all of those and those would be pretty clean as well. So, does this work? Yeah, it does. Is it a viable thing to do to get you between one wash and another when your car is really dirty and you don't have time to do the full contact wash like you would normally like to? Absolutely. But then that flow head's pretty good too. So see you that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Go and subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.